said, I am the good shepherd. A good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. A hired man who is not a shepherd and whose sheep are not his own sees a wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away, and the wolf catches and scatters them. This is because he works for pay and has no concern for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know mine, and mine know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And I will lay down my life for my sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to the fold. These also I must lead, and they will hear my voice, and there will be one flock, one shepherd. This is why the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down on my own. I have power to lay it down and power to take it up again. This command I received from my Father. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I was having lunch with another priest this week, and in the middle of lunch, my cell phone rang. Now, normally I wouldn't answer the phone in the middle of a lunch like that, but I noticed that it was the number for the diocesan offices down in Manchester. You never know when the bishop might be calling to give you a raise. So I went ahead and answered. And the person on the other end, it was a male voice. It wasn't the bishop, I could recognize that, but I didn't know who it was. They just started talking. Oh, Father Matt, blah, 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 blah. And they didn't identify who they were. It took me about 30 seconds to try to figure out who on earth is calling me here from Manchester. It turned out to be Paul Harrington, the diocesan real estate director, who's calling me about a boiler issue. Paul, is this you? I finally figured it out by recognizing his voice. Jesus today says that he is the good shepherd, and that if we belong to his sheepfold, we will recognize his voice. Amid all the cacophony of noise and other voices that we hear out in the world, if we're staying close to Jesus, we'll recognize his voice. We'll recognize when he's speaking to us in the silence of our hearts, in a moment of prayer. We'll recognize him when, in our interaction with someone else, he is calling us to reach out in love. We'll recognize him when the voice of someone who is poor or marginalized cries out to us in their need. Maybe there above all. Jesus says, whatever we do to one of the least brothers or sisters of mine, we do to him. One way that we Catholics in New Hampshire have always reached out and responded to the cry of Jesus in the cry of the poor is through the work of New Hampshire Catholic Charities. And this weekend we're very happy to welcome Jennifer Gilbert, who works for Catholic Charities down at the St. Charles Children's Home in Rochester. But you will probably recognize Jennifer's voice and face because her family lives here in our parish and she often worships here with us. So Jennifer, welcome back.
Good morning. When I received an email earlier this winter about the Catholic Charities talks, I was more than eager to reply back and to reply that yes, I would love to do them again this year. And I said, oh, and by the way, if you need help in the North Country, I have family in Lancaster and I would love to go and do Mass talks up there. I received a reply back very inquisitively, are you sure? And I said, absolutely. And she said, do you know the Mass schedule? And I said, I'm very familiar with the Mass schedule, and actually the winter Mass schedule is much easier than the summer Mass schedule. There's 2 churches I have to go to. So when she received my reply, she, like within seconds, replied back and said, you've got it, you've got Lancaster and Whitefield. So I was very pleased and honored to be able to come here and talk to you about Catholic Charities. As you heard in today's Gospel, Jesus tells us he is the shepherd, our guide, and the one who leads us. He leads everyone, not those who are just in the flock, but those who are outside the flock as well, even the lost and broken. At At Catholic Charities, we strive to tend to the people in need, both inside and outside Jesus' flock, as he intended us to. Catholic Charities has many programs with their own unique stories of how they improve lives, and I would like to share one of those stories with you this morning. Jen was 16 years old when she met the man of her dreams. She fully believed that he would rescue her from a life of abuse and poverty. After they were married, he moved them to Colorado. But as so often happened, she soon found out that he was much like her father, and he began abusing her. Each time she became pregnant, he would hit her over and over again violently until she would miscarry a child. When she became pregnant for the 4th time, she finally sought help from a domestic violence program and began her plan to return home to New Hampshire. While on the road, she was attacked by a gang, and after they had their way with her, they stole her car and took what little money she had. By the grace of God, she finally made it back home. And although she was home, she still didn't know where to turn. But eventually she found her way to Catholic Charities. During her initial meeting with her outreach worker, the worker asked her to try to pretend that she was starting over with a fresh slate, and that none of her past could haunt her or hurt her. They asked her if there was anything she could do, what would it be, and to dream big. But Jen began to cry and said, "I can't. Dreams are for people with a future." While it was very often 2 steps forward and 1 step back, Jen did begin to make strides, and Catholic Charities never gave up on her. One day, while she was holding her daughter, she decided that she wanted to work in daycare or in child care. And with the support of Catholic Charities, she obtained her GED and then moved on to get an associate's degree. When it was time for her practicum, she became petrified because she would have to leave her daughter with someone else. With her history and what had happened to her, she could not risk having her daughter out of her sight. Her outreach worker referred her to a Catholic Charities counselor, and through intensive therapy and caring, she overcame fears and completed her practicum. Through all of this, Jen learned resilience. She learned that she was capable of many things, and that indeed a future was possible for her. It took 8 years, but today she is a licensed daycare provider and has successfully run a home-based business for the past 4 years. Your gifts to Catholic Charities tackle a wide variety of social challenges. Together they strengthen families, friends, and neighbors, build independence, and restore dignity. Many of those we serve are the invisible poor, who melt into the backdrop and can easily be missed if we're not looking for them. Through our programs, Catholic Charities accepts them as they are, offering a space where change can take place, a change made possible by you. Your contributions support many vital services, including food distribution for the hungry throughout the state, parenting and prenatal education for first-time at-risk parents, intensive intervention for children with behavioral issues, job and life skills training to help people find secure employment, professional licensed counseling for those in times of distress, advocates and caseworkers who build stronger individuals and stronger communities, adoption and family reunification, legal aid for refugees and immigrants on their path to citizenship, and compassionate, comprehensive, quality short and long-term care for seniors. In your pews today, you'll see the donation pledge envelopes, and in your bulletins is a pamphlet on Catholic Charities that will give you a little bit more information, as well as the phone numbers for local district offices, which the closest ones to you would be Berlin and Littleton. So their phone numbers are there if you'd like to call them, if you need assistance or would like to refer someone to them for help. I would like to ask you to take a moment to fill out your envelopes. If you don't have time to do it today and drop them in the collection envelope, you can mail them directly to Catholic Charities or drop are considering your donation, keep in mind that we serve 1 in 13 people throughout New Hampshire every year. And to do that, we need your continued and caring support. Thank you, on behalf of Catholic Charities, for caring about your neighbors and for helping to move lives forward. Thank you for your attention this morning.
Thank you, Jennifer. Our parish has always been very generous in supporting Catholic Charities, and so I do invite you to take an envelope home with you today. If you don't have time to fill it out today, you can drop it off in the collection basket over the next few weeks, or drop it off to the